Okay, Charlotte, Sam, and Kristen, I tried to submit that 3 times through Canvas. This comment, maybe you got some of my other comments, but I can't see on Canvas, so I'm trying this way. Let's see if it works. But I really appreciate the literature, the annotation, right? It's clear that you went through that article, all kinds of comments and the highlights and the commentary in there. I hope that you see the richness of that environment in what it produces, including when your commentary align and don't align, right? So when you're in agreement or when you kind of disagree. So for instance, in the literature focus aspect, right? And not just in the document, but clear also in the form, there are some changes there and the kind of the way you see it. I think that's the important part of this is to think and be able to contribute and to look back into other people's comments and see how you react to your own thinking and how you expand that thinking or change that thinking or adapt or disagree and move forward as you engage with colleagues. Doesn't seem like you were doing this in dialogue, that you were looking maybe at the document, but then the aspects of the form in separate form. Of course, kind of thinking in dialogue, generating one thing and then responding to the next. It's definitely something you could try in the future and think through that, but really well articulated. I really appreciate comments such as, for instance, Charlotte's in terms of thinking about the lack of definition or the imprecise manner in which that is done right in the article at times, and how that hampers or kind of has a negative impact into to the analysis and the capacity and the richness of the analysis, right? This is really significant and an issue in research publication and in various areas, and certainly in the arts and in music as well. So, to be able to align that very well is not an easy process, and we don't always see that very well done. So that's an important element. I really appreciate Kristen's point. I said that twice now, but it's trying to recapture. If you see the other commentary about deficit models, right? And I think it is very significant to think about the questions of deficit and all the bias and the assumptions that lead to kind of deficit-based kind of analysis. When one pairs deficit to positive, one of the things that I want to make sure that everybody's thinking about is that positive is not simply a flip that becomes a kind of connection to advocacy, right? A positive should always be something that emerges from the research and from a proper understanding of the context, but that is still critical. They still looks at structural, contextual, network, cultural aspects of what's a phenomenon, whatever it gets studied. Looks into it, does that properly, meaning as without bias and without assumptions or without making easy assumptions, right? But still does that in critical form, right? Which does not mean simply critiquing the environment, but it means taking in consideration and looking at it in particular ways, through particular lenses, clear-minded, and so forth, right? I also appreciate Sam's, I think an important point here is the link between the research questions and the interviews. Right? I really appreciate that comment. I think that there's something important there because it is significant that the research design and then protocols, right, the interviews, focus groups, observations, surveys, or however you do that they really are efforts to get back and respond to research questions, right? And so in a more obviously nuanced and gradated ways, in relationship to the literature and the issues that are present, in relationship to the lens and the focus that you bring, right, the framework. So all these relations are very significant, and it's nice to see them represented in the article or paying attention to those. Okay, well done. Thanks. Bye.